Hi everybody, today we're talking about college visits. I'm sure some of you have been on college visits already or are looking forward to going on some college visits. So here are some things to take a look at when you're on campus. So some tips. Best time to go is when school is actually in session. When students are on campus, when classes are going on, you're going to get a better feel for what the school is like a majority of the time when you go, when people are on campus and things are going on. It's not bad to go on holidays or weekends, but I would suggest if you go during those times, you go back when school is actually in session before you make a decision. Ask lots and lots of questions. There's no dumb questions, and it might be just to get some different perspectives. I would say ask different people, even if you're asking them the same question, just to get what their answers might be and to be able to compare. So ask admissions counselors, the tour guides, the professors that you come across with. Talk to students, just random students on campus. They're not going to think you're crazy, but they can give you their perspectives, and they have nothing to gain. Find out about the academics. That's why you're going there, is to get the academics so you can get the job when you're done. Find out about the requirements for the major you're planning on going into, or if you're planning on a minor, what are the requirements? So you really know what you're getting yourself into. Find out about internships. The sooner you can get into an internship, the better, so that you know that's really what you want to do. You don't want to get into a job that you don't really like, and by the time you get to an internship and find that out, you're a senior in college and you've wasted all this time and money trying to get there. So the sooner the better. And also, do they have programs to help line you up with internships? Sometimes having some contacts or some networking can help get you not only an internship, but maybe even a job through that same company later on. Study abroad programs, if that's something you're interested in. Sometimes people will go over to Europe to study for a semester, and that can be something that can be helpful depending on your job that you're looking for, or just an experience that you might have. If you are interested in being part of the athletics of the school, find out what the athletic programs are. Can you walk on and try out for a team? Do you have to be recruited? What kind of facilities do they have? Even if you're not planning on playing on their team, maybe just activities that are available. Do they have open gyms? Do they have intramurals? What is available to you? The community surroundings, so not just on campus, but what is the community like around the school? Is it a big city or a small town? And you really have to decide for yourself, are you the type of person who could live in the big city, or you're coming from a small town? Would you rather stay in a smaller area? Personally, I could never survive in a big city. Just the type of person I am, I would hate the traffic and the number of people and all of the things that a big city is. So a smaller town would be what I would be looking for. But there are a lot of people that like the big city. They want to get out of the small town and they want to go to a big area. Transportation, what's available? Are you allowed to have a car on campus? Sometimes big universities, they don't have the parking spaces for everybody to have a car on campus. So maybe as a freshman, you can't have a car, but now you're relying on public transportation or on-campus transportation to get from one place to another. Grocery stores that are around, maybe you don't want to eat every meal in the cafeteria, or you just want to go get some snacks. What's available? Entertainment available. Obviously, in a big city, you're going to have tons of options for stores and entertainment. Smaller towns, probably not as much. The safety of the campus, what are they doing to keep you safe? Do they have security guards? Do they have things that are going to keep people out of dorms that aren't supposed to be there? What are their policies to keep you safe? And don't just assume because it's a small community or a small school that it's automatically safe. A lot of things happen all over the place, big city, small town, so they should have some policies in place for that. Okay, top 10 things to see on your visit, and these are in no specific order. One thing to do is to talk to students, and like I kind of mentioned before, they are going to be a great source of information. Just go up to some random students on campus, whether it's somebody that you walk past as you're walking through campus or somebody you see in the dining hall. Talk to students who are there and get their feedback of what they like about the school, what they don't like about the school. You'll probably find people who love the school, you might find people who hate the school, but take into consideration why they like the school, why they don't like the school, and would that be something that you would like or not like? You tend to get more honest answers from just random students. Tour guides are usually handpicked by the school. They're going to pick the person who loves the school to take you on tours. Sometimes they are the people who work in admissions, who are students who really like the school. Admissions counselors, their job is to get you to go to the school. So random students, it doesn't bother them one way or another. So they're going to give you their opinion. Second thing to look at would be bookstores. Do they have a bookstore on campus? There are a lot of universities that are going to online books. How do you purchase your books? Are they all online, or can you get paper copies of your books? They probably at least have a store where you can go and buy t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats, but check out what is available for buying all of those things while you're on campus. The person who is in charge of the department of your potential major. You are more than likely going to spend a lot of time with them. You'll be taking classes with them, so they would be the person who could answer any questions about your major, about internships, about classes, about requirements. They are going to be a good source of information. The gym or on-campus athletic facilities. If you're an athlete, you'd want to check out the facilities that you'd be using. Even if you're not, what would be some areas that you could use if you wanted to go work out, or is there the gym open that you can go shoot hoops if you want to? The health center, usually if you're going off to school, you're away from home and you're not close to being able to go home to your regular doctor. Most schools have some sort of health center on campus to help meet the needs of students, and usually they're low cost, maybe free to students. But something that you would want to find out. What are their hours? How available are they? Some schools will have a person on campus every day during the day. Some campuses have doctors that come in a couple times a week. It all depends on the campus, maybe the size of the campus, but definitely something to find out. Talk to the admissions counselor. There's a lot of things that they can offer for information. They also are a person who is going to be the one of the people who decide who is admitted to their school. So if you meet with them, you talk to them, it's going to put a face to your application. So your application is no longer this random person, they have a face to go along with it when they're making their decision. Like I said, ask questions. They're going to be a good source of information, but do remember that they are paid to get students to come to the school, so they're going to tell you the good things. The other good thing about talking to admissions counselors is that sometimes they'll track your interest. So if you show interest in the school and they can see that you've visited several times, that might be better when it comes to your application. If you've never shown any interest, they're looking at an application for somebody who's never shown any interest, are you probably likely to go there? So you do want to contact admissions counselors when it comes to visits so they can keep track of that interest level. Another thing to look at would be classrooms. You're going to be spending a lot of time in the classrooms. So look at the classroom setting. Do you like that classroom setting? Is it a place where you could actually learn? How big or small are the classes? You always hear about these huge lecture halls. Are you the type of person who could learn and survive in a big lecture hall? Or would you rather have a smaller class, kind of like the high school level? Depends on your type of learning style. What kind of seating is it? Is it flat seating like a regular classroom? Is it stadium style seating? How much technology? You would expect a college that's preparing you for a degree, for a job in the future, would have very good top of the line technology. So what do they have available? Do they have Wi-Fi? Do they have places to charge laptops and cell phones and all of those things? What is their technology that the professors might be using? Think about, would you be that nameless face that could hide and nobody knows who you are in that big, huge lecture hall? Or would you rather be somebody who can interact in a smaller class with the professor and they know who you are and they know if you're there or not? If possible, attend a class, and I would say attend two. one that would be a gen ed class and one that would be part of your major. And that way you can see what both are like, because you're going to spend time in both, but they tend to be very different types of classes. So find out what they would be like. Just a few pictures of some very typical college classrooms. This looks like it'd be a little bit larger class. This one's more of a smaller, kind of more like a high school setting. You have another one that would be more of a larger lecture hall. This one always reminds me of more of like a business conference room than a classroom, but it is a very nice setting for a class. Next thing to look at would be the dining halls. How big is it? Is there enough room for all the students? Is it clean? A lot of times it's kind of like a restaurant. If you walk into a restaurant and it's dirty and gross, do you want to sit there and eat? Kind of like for many restaurants, people might not want to go back if it wasn't very clean. Whereas if it's a dining hall and you're attending that school, if it's not very clean, you're supposed to be eating meals there every single day. Do they provide a variety of quality food? What kind of foods do they offer? How much variety or options do you have to choose from? And how accessible is it? Sometimes you'll look at having different hours that it's open. Sometimes you'll have restaurants off campus that are tied to a meal plan that you can go to a restaurant and get food if you don't want to eat in the dining hall or you miss the dining hall hours. Meal plans or options for meal plans. When I was in college, there was no meal plans. Everybody paid the same, whether you're eating every meal every day, 7 days a week in the cafeteria, or if you were eating a couple meals a day or a couple meals a week in the cafeteria. So it would be something to find out. My senior year, they announced that they were going to have meal plans the next year. So nothing I could benefit from. But the nice thing about that would be if you're the person who does not get up and go to breakfast, then you can get a smaller meal plan. If you're the person who eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, you'll be in the cafeteria every single day, you're probably going to need a larger meal plan. And then the costs. Obviously, if there's different meal plans and you're eating more meals in the cafeteria, you're probably going to pay more. If you're eating less meals, you're probably going to pay less. Just some different options, some pictures again. This is Ashland University. They are award-winning for their cafeteria. They tend to be more like a, almost like a mall food court, that there's a lot of different options. Sometimes they look like a very traditional cafeteria where you're going through picking your options. Again, another very typical cafeteria. Next thing to look at would be your dorms. If you're living on campus, you would need to find out, do you have to live on campus or not? Do they have dorms or not? Sometimes if you're looking at community colleges, they do not have dorms, but they may have apartments close to campus. So living situations, what would that be? If there are dorms, find out where freshmen tend to be versus upperclassmen. Is everybody mixed together? If they have them separated and it's a freshman dorm and then upperclassmen dorms, probably the freshmen are stuck in the older dorms on campus and the upperclassmen have the nicer ones. But it would be something to find out. How much does it cost to live on campus? And like I said, is it required? A lot of times, as a freshman, they may require you to live on campus. After that, you may be able to get an apartment, live off campus if you want to. A lot of times, if you live in the same city or within a certain mile range, you can live off campus and commute to the school. Sometimes there's not a lot of options for apartments off of campus, so you'd almost have to live on campus the whole time. Again, questions to ask. What are the rules like? You're going to find schools where the dorm rules are very strict and there's a lot of things that you have to follow. There are also rules at some that are very, very lenient, and you can do a lot of different things. Good and bad to both of those. How many roommates would you have? Typically, you think of college dorms as it's you and one other roommate. I've seen some that have triples. I've seen some with quads. So it's something to find out, and what are those options. Occasionally, you'll find dorm rooms where it's a single. Usually, that's for upperclassmen. Freshmen don't tend to be the only one in the room. What is parking like? How close is it to your dorm? And Again, how can you have a car on campus? Is there certain times, or is there a parking passage you have to get, or whatever? If you can, stay overnight in the dorm just to see what it's like. Sometimes there are schools that will have events that they bring in a bunch of potential students and they line them up with a student that's presently at the school, and they get to basically shadow them, stay with them in the dorm, eat meals with them, go to class with them, and you can really see what it would be like to go to that school. Sometimes I've heard of some bigger schools that do not offer that option. There's no organized stay overnight. They don't do that as a campus. But it would definitely be something to ask, because you can get a lot of information by staying overnight in the dorms and really getting the feel for what it would be like living there. And then the last thing to check out would be some hangout spots. Where do people go when they're not in class? Is there things that people do on campus? Do people go out into the community and do different things? Do they completely leave and go somewhere else? You probably aren't going to be studying all the time, but you'd want to find out what people do and what kind of campus that is. A few pictures when it comes to dorms. This one looks like it'd be more of an apartment style dorm where they'd have a common area, and a lot of times those have 2 bedrooms, and you might have 2 people in each of the bedrooms. So you'd have 4 people sharing that common area, but you'd have 1 person that you'd share that bedroom area with. This is a very typical dorm. They have the basic furniture. It's you and one other person, and then as you get your stuff in there, it seems a little more personable. Again, another very common dorm. So when you visit schools, make sure you check it out and really get a feel for it. Find out if that seems to be a place that would be a good fit for you. And don't be afraid to ask questions as you go through there. Maybe do a couple visits just to get a feel for what the school's like and what you would like when you get there. And that's all for today. Thank you.